Good morning, friends. We had a delicious rainstorm last night. And oh my goodness, it's really humid out here right now. But it was so wonderful to hear the rain. It's been quite a while. So let me just take you through things that are, some things are the same, some things are a little bit different. Prior to yesterday, we hadn't had rain in a couple of weeks, and the rain that we did have was only about 10 minutes. Last night, I'm not sure how long it lasted, but it was one of those that where you could tell the drops were so big. So let's start out here. So the loofah, I did pick the little one the other day and I harvested the seeds, and I still have this big one, and it's still hard. It's not ready to be harvested, not yet. The thing is, it's still growing so great. I'm just not seeing a whole lot of female flowers right now, and honestly, you can see I don't have any male flowers. So maybe the rain will kind of give it a little bit of a boost. And then the moonflower over here, kind of the same thing. I've been watering and fertilizing. I even thought, well, maybe I'm overwatering this guy. But it's still growing and it's still putting out all these vines, and I just keep weaving them in the fence. I think it's pretty. And then of course there's that black sweet potato vine, or purple sweet potato vine, I'm not sure. Now this is that sunflower that a few weeks ago the squirrel came in and bent over, and I've just left it. I sort of like oddities like this, like that contorted hazelnut tree I saw yesterday in Lowe's, which was not doing very well, by the way, but still, I just like interesting shapes. And look at all the buds here. It's still blooming, still going. And then in this container, I do still have basil and a couple of cosmos, and then there's that beautiful milkweed, and that's just swamp milkweed. And here is the monster jalapeno, where there are 2 plants, and I'm starting to get jalapenos again. This area I've started to switch around. Hey, look who showed up. Caught in the act. So there are a couple of things I added over here to this shelf just to give them some relief from the heat in the afternoon. So this is that purple bell pepper plant. Looks like part of that Coleus was snapped off last night, which that happens when it rains. I mean, look how he's just hanging out. That's so funny to me. So I have a couple of different kinds of Coleus here from seed. There's also anise hyssop, and it smells just like licorice when you brush up against it. And then the basils, sometimes I just come over here and just run my hand across because it smells so good. I have really cut back this black-eyed Susan back here because it was just not looking very well. Everything, I think, is kind of just struggling in the heat. Even if you're a heat-tolerant plant, there's still a little bit of a struggle there. And then this beautiful sweet potato vine. Ignore my hose situation. This is my first time with chives, and honestly, I need to be cooking more with them. And here is the yarrow that I pulled out of this other container. It was looking so bad. I really have trouble getting rid of things. I always want to try to revive them if I can. So I just put it in its own container back here, and I want to see if maybe it'll pick up, because I just think that afternoon sun was just a little too much for it. It really looked tired. It looked bad. Same goes for this salvia. I don't understand. Usually salvias over there on that side of the patio do great for me. Like, they just take off. So I don't know if I'm overwatering this guy or I have no idea, but this is the Rockin' Fuchsia from Proven Winners. So I put it over here where it'll start getting some shade about, it's about 2 o'clock is when it starts getting shade, and see if that will enliven it, because I do have one out in my landscape in the front that's looking a lot better right now. Now this deal I cut back right there. I've cut it way back. I kept hoping I might see some caterpillars on there, but I haven't. The lemon basil, it goes to seed so quick, but again, I really just grow it for the look and for the smell. I just love to come out here and smell it. It smells like straight up lemons. The parsley's doing great. You know, this little planter is just doing so well. The Gora, Coreopsis, and the Gaillardia, I have been deadheading. It looks like I need to deadhead a little bit more in here. And then things are a little flopped right now because of the rain, but we have the opal basil. That's going to be Siam Queen, and it has a bud, so that's exciting. I can't wait to see what those look like. And there's the tricolor sage, which I don't use for culinary purposes. I just use that as something pretty. Now this big overgrown Coleus, I've really debated about whether I want to cut it back or not. It's just so grand. And same goes with that one over there. This is the fishnet stockings Coleus from Proven Winners. But you can see how these leaves are really starting to get a little bleached out, even with that afternoon shade. So maybe it is time to do a little cut back. And then of course there's the variegated Vinca Major. And I'm gonna put that in its own pot next year, I think, because I really thought it might drape out more. Well, anyway, everything's a learning experience, right? So the other fishnet stockings, and then there is a variegated English ivy down in here. Now here's one of the containers that used to be over on that shelf. So I moved it over here because I just wanted to see if it got a little bit more shade in the afternoon, would it do better? Would it pick up? And it has. Because I come out and this umbrella right here, I put up that umbrella about 1 o'clock every day. So this is still getting some ambient light, but it's not getting any direct light, or direct sun, I should say. And then these seedlings, I planted them on Father's Day. So they are about a month old, and they're starting to get their secondary leaves now, or their true leaves. The Ruby Moon Hyacinth bean I've already planted in a container over here. Now this Black-Eyed Susan is doing so much better now that it's all by itself. I pulled out those straw flowers. They were looking icky and they had something brown and sticky on them, which I'm sure that's some kind of bug damage. I don't know, but they look so much better. In this container, there's 2 kinds of basil. There's a cosmos back there. There's one here too. And then I have been just loving the bat-faced Kufia. This rattlesnake master really needs to go out into the landscape, and maybe I'll do that this weekend. I'm not sure if that's because it was in direct sun and it burned up, or maybe that's just how its seed heads are when they finish. Here's the autumn fire sedum, and it's blooming, gorgeous. And my other little sedum container, also blooming. Now here's another Coleus that I have cut back because it tries to flower all the time. And it's just huge. I'm really surprised that I don't have more breakage from that storm last night. And under here, there are 2 little hostas. And then this wire vine. This wire vine has gone bonkers. And it's even coming out back there. Here's the elephant bush, the easiest bush in the world to grow. Such a wonderful plant. I mean, I do take it in the winter time. And because it won't make it. When we have a freeze, it'll be a goner. But I love having it inside, and of course it'll drop its leaves at first, but then it picks back up. More Coleus. There's just straight up Coleus in this container. And now I have an Angelonia, and my niece gave this to me for my birthday. It looks like it's flopped a little bit. That stem may actually be broken down in there, but that's okay. Just beautiful purple, little purple flowers. And here is the purslane. I pulled out that volunteer tomato. I just couldn't take it anymore. It just looked bad. And so, of course, the purslane hasn't opened up for the day yet. Now, here is the container where I pulled out the yarrow. And I did add a bunch more soil back in here. So you can actually see there is gomphrena. There's creeping Jenny. 2 of them actually. And the black-eyed Susan. And then my favorite flower, Queen Lime Red. And I love these from the very beginning. When they first start to open up, I love that chartreuse color. And then how they go through this stage. Beautiful. And then here is the lone wolf here. I don't know what this is. I don't know what variety, because maybe it's pink senorita or, you know, that cactus mix. But it's beautiful. Here's the container that used to house the geranium. It had to go. It looks so bad. So it's going to be just sitting there for a little while until I can decide. The thing is, I think it's not a good option to plant anything out in full sun right now. I could move, I mean, actually, I don't know where I would move this container to, because as you'll see, even in my shade garden, it's pretty full back there. So that one might just wait for a mum in September. Now, this milkweed just looks like it's on fire. I heard somebody talking the other day on YouTube that lives in South Texas that the monarchs will be migrating again. And so my hope is that I'll have the milkweed all ready for them, and maybe we can see some butterflies and some caterpillars. I don't know anything about butterflies and caterpillars, so I don't know what to expect, but the milkweed is waiting. And in this container, the poppies are almost finished, but this has turned into a gomphrena container now. This beautiful prairie splendor coneflower with the gar in the backdrop. And there's also another Queen Lime Red here. And that just continues on over to this container. This is my little red and white container here, because I have the Queen Lime Reds, and I've got the strawberry gomphrena and the bat-faced Kufia. And this is one of the containers right here in front of the chair where I usually sit. I love looking this way. So in one of my last videos, I was talking about cutting this tobacco plant back. And I did. And it's already flowering again. So I still have some strange hope that we will have some hummingbirds come along, maybe towards the end of the summer. I have no idea if that might happen or not. And then this one, I still have these beautiful sunflowers that squirrel hasn't found yet or is being merciful, leaving them alone. This is an evening sun. Pretty sure that's Lemon Queen. There's also the Verbena bonariensis, which really needs a cutback probably. And I'm not sure how this appears on camera, but these are just electric violet flowers. They're so beautiful. And here in the middle, I have a Henry Dulberg salvia. I think this is a Texas native, and it's my first year with it. And this is gonna go into the landscape during the fall. Now you can see how things have kind of flopped from the rain here in this next one. This is also that pink senorita mix. But you know what? This particular zinnia has got aphids and maybe spider mites too. So these flowers always come out kind of curly. Like that. That's the way the stems go. Like this. So I think that's probably because of whatever the pest infestation. Maybe, I don't know, it's a virus. I have no idea. I've never seen zinnias do that before. But I'm just leaving it alone. I mean, it's not hurting anything. This container, I had taken the rabbit fencing off because we had had a lot less rabbit pressure for a while. They're back now. And they really came in and they took this one down, which is fine because sweet potato vine can absolutely come back. It is just a superstar grower. And then of course, here is the gomphrena. This is the salmon from Rare Seeds or Baker Creek. And there's also anise hyssop over here too. And I have one hanging on sunflower here. I love the pink and the green. Now look at this. This is the Nicotiana that was started at the exact same day as that one. That one over there has bloomed twice. And now this one is getting ready to bloom. But it doesn't have just one bloom stalk. It has a bunch. Oh, look. That's a surprise. So there's one getting ready to open. Yay. I do recommend growing Nicotiana. It's just a fun plant. I'm not sure if it's going to be a perennial for me, but I'm going to try. Now here is my final area of this tour. This is my shade garden, and it's changed a lot since the last time. So let me take you in and show you what's different. First of all, I have 2 of the Ruby Moon hyacinth bean that I started from seed, and it's starting to take off. I don't know if I have enough growing time for it to actually climb up this pole or even climb up there by that tomato, but it'll be a learning experience for me just to see what it does. And this one was also planted, the seed was started on Father's Day of this year. Now my tomatoes are still producing little tomatoes. I think it's because they heard me say I was going to pull them all. So now they've started producing again. And they're really tall. You can see how my shade net up there has a bunch of water. So it's probably going to fall on me when I walk in there. Now these are 2 new additions. These are 2 of the proven winners, Gatsby Star Oakleaf Hydrangeas, and these have been discontinued. I got them for nearly half off at Green Acres over in Irving. And when I picked them up, they were both flopped over. I don't blame the nursery at all. I mean, they can only take care of so much. But I have both of them staked. And this is going to be a learning experience for me. At first, when I was standing there at Green Acres thinking, well, could I tree form these? But I have looked all over the internet and YouTube, and I think Dawn at Shaded from Reality is the only person I've ever seen with a tree form Oakleaf hydrangea. I could be wrong, but she's the only one I've seen. I think maybe there's something to that people don't really do that very much, because I know that when you start cutting on it, you're cutting off possibly your next year's blooms. But it's really got a lot of new growth on it. And I'm not saying since 2 weeks ago when I bought it, or maybe that was last week. Anyway, I'm gonna keep it here next to my other hydrangea and just see how they do. Now, I came out here earlier and tried to knock off a lot of the water, and I actually broke one of the blooms off, so it's inside in a vase right now. This is the Quickfire Fab hydrangea from Proven Winners, and so far I'm so excited because the only place it's scorched is right there. I'm being extra careful to only come in and water right down there and try not to get water on the blooms, but I still need to knock off some more water. And so I learned that if you just come in and bounce it, the water will come off. But if you grab the branch and shake it, that's when I made it break. So be careful. Be gentle, I should say, which I am the opposite. I am a bull in the china shop for sure. And I did move this hydrangea over so that now you can see this glorious hosta back here. And those two beautiful blooms. Oh, that just makes me so happy. Now, here are the two Vista bubblegums that I actually had in the ground right over there. And this is the Coleus that I also had in the ground over there. I can't get rid of anything. I had to give them another shot. And so these are still recovering from that rain, but they've really been so pretty. The thing is though, they don't look like Vista bubblegum. They're not that vibrant pink that I expect. I don't know if that's because this is so late in the season, but I'm just gonna keep enjoying it while it's still growing. Still looks good. Lemon coral sedum, that's gotten probably twice as big since I planted it here. It's doing fine with limited sun. My two little Yapon hollies, I keep telling them they're gonna go out to the front yard, but they're just gonna wait. I mean, they have no choice to wait on me, right? My starfish sansevieria, and it's actually putting on another leaf. Let's see if I can get in there. This one right here is new. And they just come up, and the two that are on either side just kind of part and make way for it to come up. These are the sempervivums that I planted not too long ago. This last little area is my plant nursery. So this is a hummingbird mint that didn't do well in the front yard. It didn't do well back here in the ground. Oh, sorry, I'm still talking about it. So I'm giving it one more shot. This is a tomato cutting from one of these tomato plants over here. These are the Super Sweet 100s. And I know I was thinking, I wasn't really happy with these tomatoes, so why am I doing cuttings? But I think it's just because I want to see them grow. I want to see if I can. Here's another piece of that hummingbird mint. And then these are the petunia seeds that have been going since April. I know, slow growing. They probably should have been inside under the grow light for all this time, but you know, I don't feel like messing with it inside right now. So this is what we do. I've got 2 of those pieces of Mom, the balloon flower, and finally here's another cutting of the tomato that's a little further along. The thyme, oops, done. I know, we don't talk about Bruno. And then last but not least, the rosemary stays evergreen all winter. It is just a performer. And then the jalapeno. And I do have some nice little jalapenos here. So that's about it. This is the 3rd week of July, and I'm proud that I still have things that are green. I do fertilize, I do water every single day. It's a commitment, but it's worth it. So I will see you guys in my next one. Hope y'all are having a great day, and I just encourage you to get outside if you can and enjoy everything that's growing. Bye y'all.